Hi, everyone. My name is Natalia. I represent Melbet. I'm the head of acquisition, and I'm joined today by an amazing lineup of experts. And we're going to talk about LATAM. LATAM currently is one of the most spoken regions for iGaming, and it's attracting more and more attention. So we're going to try to get behind the curtains and get specific insights from our speakers. So let's dive right in. Our topic today is LATAM Rising, unclocking the fastest growing opportunity in iGaming. And I want to start with a generic question. What do you think right now? What kind of requests or questions you're getting from investors and operators regarding LATAM right now? What are they interested mostly to know? Thomas, you are Thomas Carvalles is from TC Advisory. So you must be getting a lot of questions about specific LATAM countries. So please share your thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you, Natalia. Good to be here again. Good afternoon, everyone. Just very quickly, like Natalia very well presented, I'm Thomas Carvalhais. I've been in gambling, iGaming in Brazil, LATAM for almost 20 years now. I know I don't look that old, but I'm turning 43 in 2 days. So yeah, it's an interesting space. Now, going straight to answering Natalia's question, one of the queries or questions I'm getting the most is, does Brazil make sense? Is it as good as it is? Why are operators struggling so much? Am I supposed to provide the answer to the questions or just the actual questions?
Yes, provide an answer.
Yes.
Let us know what specific pattern
Sure.
you noticed.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of those because a lot of people just, guys, unfortunately, a lot of us in business and iGaming, we think it's easy to make money in new emerging markets. And the reality is, if you don't have boots on the ground, if you don't have the right strategy, if you don't understand the market, you are going to lose a lot of cash. Doesn't matter if it's Brazil. So I really want to close down on any negativeness perspectives about Brazil because it is challenging like any other market, especially now with regulation. But I will provide facts. I'm not going to say so that nobody here can say, he's saying that because it's Brazilian. No, look at Flutter's M&A over Bet Nacional. The guy spent a lot of money, and they projected a negative EBIT for the year because they're looking on a long-term thing. That's the thing. A lot of operators go into Brazil and other Latin American countries per se, thinking they're going to break even and they're going to make good ROI overnight, which is not the case. Again, what is the secret? Strategy. Know the market. Have boots in the ground. That's the queries I get most of the time, Natalia.
Thank you, Thomas. Jana, what do you think about it from game provider perspective?
I mean, we don't have that much interactions in terms of this with investors and stuff, but like, yeah, in general. So, Thomas, when we were doing the rehearsal, we decided to highlight that we don't treat Latin America as the whole.
Yeah.
It's a really, really big piece of land and a really big region. So, obviously, you really need to approach each market separately. But yeah, in my humble opinion, I mean, we've been talking about Latin America, I think for a year now, a lot during this like panels. But seems like the dust is settling down a bit, and we are kind of opening our eyes and seeing that the market is becoming a bit overfloated. So it's not a boom. I'm not. It's just a personal opinion. I love the whole region, but it's not like a boom anymore, I would say. So you really, as Thomas mentioned, you really need to have a strategy and be precise, and yeah, don't treat it like as a wave that you know how to surf.
Eddie, what do you think about that?
Okay, now first of all, I'd like to say that although I represent Zenit, which is a game aggregator coming from Asia, and expanding globally. Most of my life, half of my life I've spent on the B2C side, and half of my other gaming life was on the B2B. I'm not gonna say how many years. I don't want to say my age. Please forgive me. I just I just hope I can stay in this industry for another X number of years and enjoy it as much as I do nowadays, because changes never end. And the dynamic of this business, I think, has really unequal. And the LATAM region is one of the most dynamic right now from both the investors and operators point of view. And I will define it in two words. For investors, mostly I will say it's what's the main word that they come up with when they want to enter the region is differentiation. It's beyond localization, beyond having people, you're having all the tools you want. Uh, an investor will come into the market and say, okay, what do I need to make different in order to succeed in this market in return on investment? It is not only about having muscle in terms of acquisition, it's having entering a market, for example, like Colombia, where you have an operator like BetPlay dominating 60, 50% of the market share, that has all the most important acquisition deals, that can gather all the different traffic channels that almost operator can gather, facing big muscle operators like Betson or RushBet that haven't really advanced in market share that much in the last 5 years, because these guys are holding the power so much. So this is the main question. Differentiate in the different in the small details, especially in the retention area. Retention and player cycle area is the most important one. Create your own affiliation channels, create your own traffic in influencer or communities. Communities is the word right now that I think that South America is developing even more. So that's the little details differentiation is what the investor will be looking at on the return. From the operator side, I would say it's scaling. You cannot just have a presence in one single market, risk all your backs in one single horse to win the race, because any changes on the regulation can affect your operation in one single market in a big manner. Any government right now, and this is contagious these days, come up with a VAT tax that goes on top of the GGR, and then from 15% you end up paying 24. All your numbers get messed up. You have to look somewhere else. You have to scale the loss on that country until this situation resolves again and comes up on a better perspective, for example, in Mexico or Colombia, or looking at new upcoming regulations like Chile. So this is my view.
To help with differentiation and perhaps improving retention, as you mentioned, I want to ask you about new technologies or perhaps strategies that you see companies are using in LATAM right now to succeed. Yeah, you can give specific examples in specific countries where you work or with which you worked. Yeah.
Can you hear me? No, no, no. So I cannot go. Hi guys, Natalia. Let me just get a chance to introduce myself because I rehearsed it with myself. So my name is Constantinos Kafkallas. You can call me Costa. It's quite easier. I represent Propeller Ads, which is a top affiliate network, advertising network. Our traffic comes from the mainstream entertainment sector, let it be sports, videos, news, blogs, these kind of sites, socials, and interactive ads. And I want to mention that I am 1 year and 1 day older than Thomas because my birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday to us! Yes, thank you guys. This is clapping for being older, I guess. So yeah, I'll take it. And yeah, about the new emerging technologies, representing the traffic, the network side of things. What we see the last 2-3 years is finally we can get tracking, we can get conversions, we can get pixels fired on our statistics, on the network statistics. So being in the blind for 12 years, as Propeller Ads is now turning 15 in July. So 12 years in blind, and yet we managed to have iGaming as a top vertical for forever. Now we can finally see what's happening. And we now can apply all the knowledge we have about models, about scaling, optimization, with the help of your account strategists, with the help of all of us. We are experts. I've been 9 years in propeller ads, so I'm just speaking my truth, guys. So that's one. Also, with tracking, we now can utilize all the tools, automation tools that we have, like CPA Go, for example, CPA-based, performance-based models. And these, basically, the hands are now untied and the world is our shell. One more thing, it's interactive ads because LATAM is mostly mobile-based, mobile dependent. And we see that the users are a bit saturated with static banners and traditional formats. Now we introduced interactive ads. This is a funnel where the user goes through questions or a quiz or a game or something that keeps them active, engaged. And at the end of it, AI, of course, I had to mention it, kicks in, and AI chooses what ads to serve to whom. And in the case of this conference, we want to serve iGaming offers to iGamers. That's from my side.
Thank you, Konstantinos. Anyone else wants to add something from your perspective? Because here we have companies from different sides of business.
I can make a comment on that, agreeing with what Ed just mentioned. He mentioned differentiation. Of course, he's referring to USPs, both from an acquisition, from an acquiring point of view, of course, like the CAC costs to the actual retention, because I see the two worlds in a very different manner. I mean, I've been an operator most of my career. I've worked with Leo Vegas, I've worked with Stake until recently. And I think the ones that are winning, if I remember your question well, Natalia, what are operators or what are competitors or B2Bs doing to actually make a difference in the market? I always look at the two worlds in a separate manner, but they have to complement one another. So for me, if you're coming from an acquisition point of view, like we were hearing right now, I see a lot of companies doing a lot of different approach, not only influencer marketing, but really thinking outside the box, as in doing cross-sell campaigns. There's a lot of money sitting on the table on cross-sell campaigns, especially over operators that were in Latin America. You consider Peru, you consider Brazil. There's so much money, there's so much value on the table that we tend to think, how can I bring more players? But guess what? There's so much you can do already sitting on the table. I'm talking purely from an operator B2C perspective right now, that you can run cross-sell campaigns that will bring you, will extract more value, will improve your LTV, your break-even time. The break-even in Brazil and most Latin American countries will only come after 5 or 6 months. Now I'm referring to affiliation as well, to traffic acquisition. That's, I mean, ideal break even. However, now we have a tax increase in Brazil. Now I'm putting myself in the shoes of the operator. Then it's kind of shrinking our margins even more. And you have to be really, really good as an operator, moving over to retention now to actually retain the value, retain the right LTV, and break even within 5 to 6 months. Now we have a tax raise in Brazil. Colombia has also gone through a tax raise recently. They actually added a tax on top of deposits. Some operators are returning that. I think it's 19% on the deposit amount, actually. Some operators are returning that in the form of a bonus or in the form of a comp, a credit comp that players can do. So I think there's so much, Natalie, that you need to do when it comes to, again, using AdWords, differentiation, USPs. But that's the devil's in the details, like they say, right? You really need to know the operation. You need to know what the market's going to. If we as operators or B2Bs or affiliates, because I know a lot of our crowd here are affiliates as well, if we're not able to put ourselves in our customer shoes, whoever they are, be them the final player, be them your operator, be them a provider, we're never going to be able to make a difference. We're never going to be able to win in a region like that. And in Brazil, something really bad is happening right now, that the same government that regulated us almost 2 years ago is actually positioning themselves against the whole industry, even getting to the point of saying, you know what? I feel like just shutting down this entire industry. This industry is a disaster. It's a tragedy in the life of the poor Brazilian people who are just getting in debt now because of that. So this is, I'm not painting a disaster, a nightmare picture. I'm painting a realistic picture. And the only way we can cater for that is, again, we need to have boots on the ground. It's not only about strategy, because it's not only about reinventing the wheel. A lot of times we get stuck in those ways. What else can I do different? It's really about knowing the details. The solutions, innovation have to come out of opportunities. Otherwise, they're redundant.
May I add to this also, with Ukraine, my CEO commented once when we were entering the regulated Brazil that what happened as well. Like first it was just gambling, then it became regulated, and then like the government, when everyone started putting their like agenda back lashing and that it's a bad influence, destroying lives, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, what happened, that is all centralized under the, let's say, governmental influence. But yeah, maybe I don't know, could happen the same in Brazil. Politics.
So we move to challenges. What Thomas mentioned about the regulation in Brazil. What other challenges do you see perhaps in other countries in LATAM that are impeding iGaming companies to succeed? And what do you think that we can do about these challenges?
Basically, first challenge I'll say is the taxation area, the forever changing environment that operators can find, and the insecurity in terms of political inclinations to always obtain the milk from the same cow, which is gaming, and with the excuse that you're providing something back to the society, which in many cases you cannot prove. This is the first, I would say, risk or impediment for companies to bet on one market. And that's why I always defend scaling. They always go onto a multi-country strategy when an operator wants to enter Latin America. But obviously do it with niche objectives for each market, because you'll have to find differentiation for each of them. So essentially, first, it's the taxation, and secondly, the differentiation, the acquisition and retention of your players, to becoming more of a community retention strategy than just using the best technological tools, the best CRM, the best promotions. I think differentiation comes also from having support teams that are more efficient. Even having looked at the littles, like I was talking to an operator even yesterday that they say that they can run different support teams in different countries in LATAM, and they try to have teams to save money, for example, in Peru, because it's cheaper to run a support team in Peru versus, for example, Costa Rica. And essentially, they tasted different Latin-speaking people, and the one that was working better was the Colombian one, because people tend to like more to hear the Colombian Spanish than other Spanish, for example. And believe it or not, this is something that helps. All the little details add, beyond differentiation and beyond technology. So the people factors is also something that is a challenge, how to find the perfect mix in terms of the operations layout on a country or multi-country.
I can add on this topic. To me, I don't see LATAM as a challenge, because we also work in African region and Asian, and it's just a fresh market. It's not mature yet, and all of us, we're learning together, and like this experience evolving. We're all going along with the flow. So it's not like a real challenge. It's just like we are growing, from being a kid to becoming a mature adult. Like, this is my personal opinion. But yeah, everything that is mentioned, pay attention to details, have people on the ground, like learn the cultures, how different they are. Like, yeah, in Latin America, not everyone speaks Spanish, by the way. So yeah, know all these differences and obviously use people that are there around you, you know, to give you those consultations. I don't know, maybe also go deeper into the background, learn the culture, what people eat, what people listen, like what are their backgrounds, why the crash games are better in Brazil, for instance, from the game provider perspective, because there is a huge history behind it. And like, you know, this kind of stuff. So be more, again, human factor, as you mentioned, I think is also very important.
Please, Antonio.
I was just going to touch on LTV real quick because I mean we're talking about unlocking the fast growing iGaming opportunity in the world. Now, if we're talking about that, um, I am seeing a lot of markets coming up real strong, really, really good in terms of LTV and profitability. Of course, there's a lot of hype around Brazil, and it does make sense because it's a market with the potential of $5 billion in revenue by 2027. I don't know if we're going to achieve that potential considering everything that's happening. But we really need to look beyond Brazil. As much as it hurts me, because I'm a proud Brazilian, I would be waving the flag here. But I know there's other markets in LATAM, and I agree with Ed as well. Colombia is a fantastic model. For me, Colombia has always been the best model in South America, the country, the regulated, that has the best regulatory model. It's fair on the customers, fair on the operators. But again, it's really important to make a statement here, and it might be redundant to some of you, but I know it might be useful to others as well. There's no such a thing as a LATAM market. There is a LATAM region, but LATAM, guys, is not a market. So whatever you are, B2B, B2C, Brazil itself, if you look at Brazil only, there's so many markets inside Brazil. We're talking about a country of 210 million people. It's a country of continental proportions. So those who are localizing in Brazil, they know the challenges from south to north, let alone Latam. We're like so many different cultures, so many different perspectives, two languages with so many different not only two languages, because I mean in Guyana they speak French, in some other places they speak Dutch, in Curacao, which is also part of Latam. But yeah, it's really important to have this understanding of the region. There's no such thing as European market, right? There's European region. There's no such thing as Asian market. What is an Asian market? There's a region. So Latam is not a market, it's a region. Let's just keep that in our minds as well.
Thomas, I respect your opinion about Brazil being overhyped, but as an operator and what I see is going on in the market, I see that more and more companies in Brazil got regulated, started to look into new markets. So, for example, I see a lot of attention going to Mexico. For example, there is Sigma this year going on, and this should boost a lot of attention to this market as well as other Central American markets. So I want to jump right into the next question. What do you think are the most overhyped LATAM markets now, LATAM geos now, and what are the most under evaluated geos that need more attention?
Eddie,
Overhyped is the obvious answer.
yeah, we are so sorry, Thomas.
So I was,
Well, we're overhyped because we have 5 World Cups, guys. It's okay.
Because it's
What
big.
can I do? You know, we're the only country in the world with 5 World Cups.
size is not only the only mattering thing, let's say.
But I agree.
But in terms of, I like to talk more about the underdogs in Latin America. I mean, obviously after Brazil, I think that Mexico is calling a lot of attention. And you were right when you're mentioning that a lot of companies and operations that were entering Brazil, not that they diminish their attention for Brazil, but they also are exploring Mexico after they started figuring out how the numbers were working in Brazil. They're balancing the risk in a way. And the next one, I think, in attention will be Chile once if it finally becomes regulated, because the other two more established markets like Peru and Colombia, they also attract a lot of interest. I think Peru is the most undervalued market right now in terms of the regulated ones. Uh, it has always been kind of a fear for Peru that where people were saying that if you don't have a land-based operation, you won't have the expertise and the multi-channel approach to succeed in that market. But I think that as technology advances, people usage of gaming changes, and this is also changing fast in Peru and all over Latin America. So for me, Peru is a very undervalued market, and Paraguay as well. Very tiny market.
But I think during our rehearsal, you was also mentioning about Venezuela, no?
I was
About
mentioning it was me.
Venezuela.
It was me.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
So from the traffic, from the network perspective, Peru, Chile, Venezuela, Bolivia, Ecuador.
Yeah.
We see it has to be localized. Like we see agencies, networks from LATAM managing to thrive with this. Then we see European media buying agencies not managing to penetrate these markets. But we see that the numbers are growing for the ones that have been there or they are there now. And yeah, it's for affiliates here, for agencies, for anyone who is interested. Again, on our side, we can say how to walk into this market successfully and get the FTDs, get the retention, get the ROI for the long term. Argentina and Mexico, they have been there for long on our side, so I wouldn't add them to the underestimated ones. They are established ones. So yes, I wouldn't say that Brazil is overhyped, to be honest, to be a bit on the side of Thomas, since you have birthdays together. But it's a bit saturated, Thomas. It's a bit, everyone is eating from that pie for decades, and they're eating small or large parts of the pie. And that's why now, after the regulations, there are struggles. Ionut, one of my newest friends, he loves this word struggles. He has been asking what are the struggles of advertisers during this course to the conference. So yeah, it is a bit struggling to make it work and also to transfer money to Europe, let's say in our case, or etc. etc. So not overhyped, saturated a little bit. Still the king or the queen. Brazilian Greek is Brasilia. It's a female, so she's a queen to me.
And that's the name of her capital, actually. Brasilia is the name of her capital. Just quickly on the overhyping thing, what's happening, guys, and this is natural. In every regulated market, this is going to happen. There's something called consolidation. Only the companies with the actual buying power, the capital to stay, will stay. This happen in every single European regulated market. Before the markets get regulated, it's interesting for everyone. It's easier in a way, less challenging to actually get in there and make money. Now with regulation coming in, one, it becomes much more expensive to be in there. Your traffic becomes much more expensive. Affiliates make less money. Operators make less money, unless you're operating illegally. Different story. We're not going to go there. Unless you're operating on .com on a regulated market, it's going to be more expensive. So besides the overhyping perspective, there's the actual consolidation perspective. What's going to happen in Brazil, and I will dare to make my predictions here, is that by 2027, next year, we're going to go from having today almost 100 operators in Brazil to having about 20, 25. Very much only the big boys will stay. People that actually have the marketing budget or the capital to stay, because it's becoming much more expensive. We have Betano leading the market right now. Bet365, they always led the market in terms of market share, is now in second place because they got stuck in their ways around sportsbook. Betano just came in, a lot of money, just throwing money everywhere, buying all the soccer jerseys they can. Superbet also coming, chasing behind. So we now have Betano, Superbet, Bet365. We have some Brazilian operators who are honestly struggling to survive. And they're not so small, eh? I could mention some names here, but there's a lot of local Brazilian operators who had the cash to pay the 30 million Brazilian reais, which is about 6 million euros, for an extra Brazilian license, plus another million euro as a reserve fund. And they're now getting suffocated with unexpected tax increase, unexpected marketing bans, unexpected positioning of the government against the sector. So there's a very, very strong suffocation. It's a matter of perspective. Overhyping, consolidation, suffocation from the government. To me, it's all about a market maturity into being a regulated market.
Thank you, Thomas. So we've discussed about challenges and we discussed about new trends. So to wrap up this session, I want to ask you to share in one sentence, what do companies need to do in the next few years to actually improve their position in LATAM, to get a bigger market share in LATAM? In one sentence.
Diversify. Sorry, Anna. Diversify the geos, the markets. Be patient because acquisition, it takes time. And know the guy who knows a guy in the case of the network. And I'm that guy for you guys. So please come talk to me. Let's World Cup is a blink away. Let's take advantage not just of Brazil, but of all the region of Latam. Thank you, guys.
Do your
Thank you.
homework. That's my sentence. For all things Brazil and Latin America, I'm your guy as well. I can assist your operation, assist your B2B expansion. So happy to talk. Thank you, Natalia, for the great moderating.
In one sentence, reduce prices. That's what I was saying. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I would also love to sell our games. If there are any operators, Parma Bank has lots of licenses. We operate in many markets, and yeah, we have amazing games.
For Latin America's successful strategy in the next coming years, I'll say 4 things. So one will be coming early, don't come to a market when it's already consolidating, even coming before it gets regulated, if there are any left. There are a few of them. Even if it's small, do multi-country. Don't go to one big market. Try to do small ones. Combine them together. For the third factor, I concentrate a lot on differentiation through retention. I think the most important factor, and operations. Paying fast still is a factor. No matter what, we can't want to get complicated with AI or whatever. If you don't pay your customers fast, they won't stay with you. They won't trust you, and that never changes. And fourth factor, create communities, not just customers. And I think that's going to explode even more in Latin America. And I mean, people like Stake are doing it successfully everywhere else. And beyond that, this is going to evolve even more, I think.
So your message is clear: create communities, diversify, and use your services.
And reduce
There
price.
was some
According to Anna,
essence,
which was good.
Okay, any questions to the panel?
Any specific tips for affiliates? Because discussion was mostly on operators. What do you advise to affiliate to do?
I'll take this one. So affiliates, first of all, please get as good deals as possible with the operators. Then when it comes to networks, of course, you don't work only with networks. We'll work with socials. We'll work with SEO. You'll work with everything. When it comes to networks, which is my specialty, please listen to us. Give us 1% of your trust because we know our product. It's been there for quite long. So you know your needs. We know the product. When we match those two, we can actually get the FTD prices that you're looking for. And then for you, it's going to be a rev share deal. So hopefully, so in that case, you'll be getting ROI for the long term. So talk to your account strategies, talk to the people that know the product and match the knowledges and let it become more successful day by day.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Misha from Slot Catalog wanted to ask a question.
Hi again. Again, from the acquisition perspective, we see the biggest challenge is the poor payment localization. For instance, in Argentina, it's essential to have Mercado Pago. In Brazil, it's very important to have Pix. Like, what's your perspective, dear panel, on the how much we see the leakage of conversion because of the poor localization in LATAM? Thank you.
Are we talking about conversion in terms of payments, right? In terms of like, okay, look, I think it's important, like you guys that bring traffic from affiliation acquisition perspective, you got to see if your partner is well equipped, your B2B, your B2C client is well equipped. Because, for instance, for Brazil, if you do have Pix, it's very unlikely that you're going to have a drop in transaction acceptance. If you do have a drop over 5% with Pix, something's wrong with the payment method because Pix is a is an instant cash payment. Same for Argentina, for Mercado Pago. There's so many similar PSPs across LATAM. But if your client, be them a .com or a regulated operator, if they don't have the methods like you've mentioned very well for Argentina, for Brazil, then it's actually not even worth it to be working with them, because the rate of accepted transactions will be dropped. There's going to be a lot of efforts coming from your end to bring the traffic, but the traffic is not going to converge, unfortunately. But again, I think most operators know this by heart. This is almost like a given, in Brazil and in Latin America. So having the right PSP is absolutely mandatory.
I don't know if
Can-
we have any more time.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Thomas said, that it's not only having the right PSP, but how you are integrated. You have integrated that PSP. What is the interface that the user is using to deposit or withdraw on your platform? That makes also a big difference. All right.
Does it work? Okay, so we're Mickey from Slot Catalog, and I'm following up on Misha's question before. So we're affiliate site, and we are blessed with a lot of traffic from all over LATAM. My question is, except the payment methods, where are you guys, or the B2B guys, spending most money in terms of localization, and what are you doing? I'm asking because it's obvious why I'm asking, but a big affiliate like ours, we like to do things on a revenue share. And if you make money, we make money. So we can spend our development money to pick more traffic up from different countries. So we need to know what you guys are doing where, in order so we can bring you more.
I see a lot of B2B now, talking about B2B, like game providers per se, making partnerships with operators and paying for the traffic as well. Now, it's something. It's not new, but it's happening more and more in LATAM. For LATAM, it's a bit of a new trend. The actually game studios. I'm talking about the big guys. Your Pragmatics or Evolutions.
Us as well, we're not that big.
Yeah, I know.
Practically.
Like the game providers as well. They're actually fighting for the best influencers or the best sources of traffic. There's a strong fight, right? Not a fight per se, but there's a strong challenge between, for instance, Tara and Pragmatic, and I know the agencies managing influencers and affiliates in Brazil. So there's a massive investment coming from that end as a B2B provider, not necessarily B2C, helping and splitting the bill with the operators, whatever bill comes out of that traffic acquisition. So that's definitely one thing that I see happening a lot. On the B2B front, reducing traction is also a very, very strong drive, because although, like Ed was saying, it's not only about having the right P2P, PSP, but what kind of experience is that PSP giving your customers? A lot of KYC providers are not ready for Brazil and for some South American countries, for instance. KYC doesn't work. The document recognition doesn't work, the facial recognition doesn't work. So reducing traction is also a big, big thing, and I'm just mentioning some examples here. But those are the two fronts I would mention.
All right, thank you.
Cool, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.